L, day 12 of 26. Nearly halfway. Okay. L is 2 and a little bit of shelves, but it's fine. We shall proceed. L starts with an all-time classic, much loved, Labyrinth.
Dance, magic dance.
Awesome Bowie soundtrack. Went to see this at the cinema. I've loved it ever since.
Magical.
It's just brilliant, isn't it? It's another one that every time it's on the telly, you can't stop watching it.
Yeah.
It's great.
It happened to me the other day.
Then LA Confidential. Great neo-noir.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic neo-noir. The twist, I've seen it I think probably about 3 times, and the twist surprised me every time. It's a good sign of it getting engrossed in something, isn't it?
Or a bad sign that
You
makes
got
things all
dementia.
faculties are going.
Yeah, but it's great. Yeah, but the idea that the Sixth Sense gets me every time, even though I know what's coming.
Yeah.
Still, it's just well delivered, isn't it? Yeah, I love LA Confidential. It's a great film.
Yeah.
Lady Bird, next.
Yeah.
Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird. Which was a very good
Nice.
film.
It was a nice film.
Yeah, very pleasant. Good mother-daughter relationship. Excellently acted.
Mm-hmm.
And we eagerly await the further films that Greta Gerwig's going to do that she says are autobiographical to go with this.
Yeah.
Not more Little Women type things, when I thought she was just going to do this.
She can do what she wants now.
I know, but come on. Next is a film that we mentioned in the terrible accents category question, which is The Lady from Shanghai, which is an excellent noir with a really good Rita Hayworth performance and a really good Orson Welles performance, apart from every time he speaks. And he's got a terrible Irish accent that's as
Like
bad
that.
as bad as that. But still good. It's got a brilliant finale and a hall of mirrors. It's wonderful.
Always good.
Next up,
Can you
Is-
name another film with a finale and a hold of mirrors?
other than Man with the Golden Gun,
A disused fairground. I'm genuinely asking you because I can't.
I have a canvas on the.
Can you-
We've watched something recently.
Yeah, like it's like a horror thriller.
So everyone at home, let us know your favourite finales in Halls of Mirrors,
Yeah.
so we can pretend we knew which ones they were.
We're gonna have to find that out.
Next is a brilliant double bill, which is the 2 Lady Snowblood films, which are amazing.
Yeah.
Revenge movies.
Yeah.
Heavily, that was the dog sneezing, not either of us. Heavily borrowed from by Quentin Tarantino and Kill Bill. They're great. Amazing soundtrack. Meiko Kaji, who plays Lady Snowblood, is a badass Japanese. She plays samurais and assassins and all kinds of stuff. Really good. Good films, those. Then is a great Hal Ashby film, which is The Last Detail. Seen The Last Detail?
No.
It's got a cover that leads you to, probably doesn't show what the film's actually about. I don't know why they've chosen that as the cover.
You've got to take a picture of that. And put
I
it
will,
up.
because it's not what it looks like, which is a homoerotic Jack Nicholson film. So this is Jack Nicholson and Otis Young as 2 kind of experienced navvies who are transporting a very young sailor, played by Randy Quaid, across the country because Randy Quaid's been court-martialed and he's going to jail. And they're trying to take him to military jail. And on the way, they realise that he's I think he's about 18. They realise he's not really ever lived. He's a virgin. He's never got drunk properly. He's not done any of the stuff that they've done, and they're salty sea dogs. So they give him a fun journey across America, or wherever they're going. Long journey. It's great.
It's so terrible.
It's an appalling cover, but it's a great film. It's one of the 70s classics.
And they've done something to his face as well.
It's a really weird cover.
Is that even his body?
I don't know.
I don't even think
It's
that's...
not his body. He's 83 today, Jack Nicholson, so it's not his body
Yeah,
right now. But I don't know that he's ever looked like that.
It's not
Although in that he is quite svelte because he's playing a like active naval
We'll have to check that one out.
guy. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a really good film. And Richard Linklater made a sort of spiritual sequel to it 2 or 3 years ago with Bryan Cranston and someone else like doing a similar thing. It's not actually a sequel, but he made it to be like a modernisation of Last Detail. I can't remember what it's called. It's on Amazon Prime. Next, the last movie, the film Dennis Hopper made with his freedom and cash that he got from Easy Rider. This is the film where he went totally bonkers and was filming in South America. So it's a film about somebody making a film. So another those like 8.5. It's very odd. It's got scenes in it where they're like, there's no, it's just a black card that says scene missing, because like that was done on purpose to make it kind of anti-Hollywood. It's interesting. There's a really good documentary that goes with it. That's a documentary about Dennis Hopper editing it.
My God.
And it's a bit like that Joaquin Phoenix thing where he's like playing himself. When the documentary came out, people were like, fucking hell, Dennis Hopper's mental. And actually he was playing the character people were expecting. Like, he was a bit crazy, but he was playing up to the fact he was having a documentary made about it. It's an interesting double bill. Next, another great noir, Laura.
It's good.
Otto Preminger's Laura. Yeah, it's great. Also should be watched if you haven't seen it, if you're a Twin Peaks fan, because it's a big influence on Twin Peaks according to David Lynch. So obviously there's a Laura in it. There's a Waldo in it, which is the name of the bird in the cage when Laura Palmer's being killed. It's one of David Lynch's favourite films. Next up, super duper epic Lawrence of Arabia. That looks phenomenal on Blu-ray. Beautiful. You got to be in the mood for Lawrence of Arabia, don't you?
Well, I mean, you've got to be furloughed or something.
You need 4 hours, but it is a great 4 hours of classic British cinema.
Now's the time.
Yeah, now's the time. And then next up is a film that didn't really get much of a release. We were going to show it, and then the date for release got moved, so we couldn't fit it in. From the director of Winter's Bone, this is Leave No Trace.
I loved it.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Father and daughter living in the forests of Portland, Oregon, totally off-grid and totally outside normal society, and then they get put in social services, don't they?
Yeah, put your Christmas trees for life,
Mm.
I think.
It's a fantastic film. As is Winter's Bone. Deborah Granick's a good
It's
director.
that air of impending menace,
Yeah.
but that,
It's very uneasy, isn't it?
yeah,
Like nothing.
and the actors are great.
There's nothing particularly nasty in it, is there? It just feels like it could turn
No, mild peril.
really bad.
Yeah.
It's perilous. Next up is Leon.
It's brilliant.
Great 90s Luc Besson film. And I think, yeah, this one's got the director's cut and the theatrical cut on it.
Why do you think we're so obsessed with assassins?
Because they do a thing that, because people daydream about, like,
Killing.
how great it would be to get rid of that person you don't like at work, or
I
that
don't
person you
think
don't like
that's
who lives
it.
on your street. And these people get to do it.
But
Plus, there's the other side of it. So there is a bit of that vicarious living. It's like gangster films, because they get away with all kinds of stuff. And cowboys and Indians and people in space. Everyone gets away with stuff that you can't get away with. But at the same time, there's always an edge that even if you are rooting for the assassins, like you do in this, because they're taking out horrible people, you also know that generally they're going to get a moral comeuppance. You know? You can't just get away with being an assassin forever.
Well, the thing is, though, this is what we were talking about earlier. In a lot of films, because I'm watching Peaky Blinders,
Yes.
and we were talking about The Wire and Goodfellas.
Yes.
And how the goodies and the baddies. It doesn't always correspond.
It's very grey, isn't it? And
all the goodies are the law. Like, there's the law, and then there's moral right and wrong.
And there's overlapping morality.
Yeah, and the baddies can be morally.
Which is like this.
Yeah.
So Leon's totally a criminal. He's a paid assassin.
Yeah.
But he also chooses the targets.
It's like, that's the thing, isn't it? We need a kind of moral framework for the villain, and then we can get behind them, like Walter White in Breaking Bad. When did you stop being with Walter, or did you ever stop being with him?
When what's her face died.
That's the moment, isn't
Yeah,
it?
no spoilers. That's the moment.
Yeah.
Because it's cold-blooded.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to be for the protection of what he's doing. It's mean.
Yeah.
It's selfish rather than.
But when you look back, he was like that the whole time, wasn't he?
Yes. Or he's not.
But the moral framework of the reasons why he was doing it compelled you.
Yes.
And Hank was this idiot guy.
And Leon's a very good example of that, because the bad guy in it is Gary Oldman's character, who's a police officer.
Yeah.
But he's a total lunatic police officer, popping pills and ordering murders. So he's worse than the people who are actually on the wrong side of the law.
Yeah.
It's a perfect example of what we're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Plus it's got good soundtrack and stuff. It's great.
And when I watched Barry, you watched the series
No, I
Barry?
didn't see Barry in the end.
Let's not talk about that then.
No, but similar thing.
Well, I watched the first series, I was really with him, and then the second series, it's like Killing Eve.
Dexter did the same.
Yeah.
The first couple of series of Dexter, I was totally on Dexter's side, and then by the 5th series, when it jumped several sharks, I couldn't wait for him to get caught.
Yeah.
But that's why we like these things, isn't it? Because you can play with who you're rooting for, and it's always quite fun to root for the bad guy when they've got some charm about them. Yeah, it's playing with things that you wouldn't do in real life.
Yeah, and we're all morally ambiguous.
Morally bankrupt. Then next is another of my favourites, Let the Right One In.
Beautiful.
Absolutely sensational. I went to see this at the cinema. I think this was maybe a chapter. And from the very opening scene with the credits coming up with a snowy like snow falling against black, I loved it. It's got one scene in it that I find unforgivable.
Well, don't spoil.
But if anyone wants to know, ask privately. When we were talking about perfect films, I would have put this on my perfect films list, bar the one scene that I think is one of the worst things I saw at the cinema in the 2000s.
I think you're going to have to say now.
The cats.
Right.
The CGI cats that are totally pointless. Don't like it.
Well, let's not talk about CGI cats.
No, let's not. Oh, we'll have to get the Blu-ray of cats. Next, another Wes Anderson, and another of my favourites of the Wes Andersons for its Bowie soundtrack, its Bill Murray-centric adventuring, deep-sea diving, hats and pale blue t-shirts aesthetic is Life Aquatic.
Lovely. Perfect world.
I'm not 100% sold on it as a narrative film. I couldn't watch it as many times as I could watch Tenenbaums or Rushmore or something, but I love it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Wouldn't you just like Bill Murray and Tilda Swinton to be your parents?
Yeah, it wouldn't be bad, would it? Would not be bad. Next is I get why people collect steelbooks when they look like that one. A nice steelbook of Alfred Hitchcock's Lifeboat.
Loved Lifeboat.
Yeah, we hadn't seen it, had we, till a couple of years ago.
Effective little.
It's
thriller.
excellent. Excellent.
They can do a lot in a dinghy.
Yeah. It's a bit like Rope, isn't it? It's a very small
one scene
thing.
Yeah.
It's not it's many shots, but it's the similar kind of feel. So it's a load of people who've been set adrift in a lifeboat after the Germans have torpedoed their ship, and it turns out that one of the people on the lifeboat is a German from another ship.
And you don't know who it is.
It's great.
Yeah.
Really good. We need to do the screening of that with Neil.
Yeah.
Little Shop of Horrors. 80s one.
I made you watch that the other day.
You did, because we were going to do some musicals, weren't we?
It's brutal.
It's great.
That's a very morally bankrupt baddie. That plant.
It's an evil plant, isn't it?
Yeah. Very sadistic.
I think my favourite thing about this, I liked it. In fact, I really enjoyed it, and I had seen it when I was younger, but I'd forgotten it. My favourite thing in the whole thing is Bill Murray and the dentist.
Yeah.
Bill Murray as the patient and Steve Martin as the dentist.
Yeah.
Which Bill Murray just improvised the masochistic element of it.
They were at the height of their powers.
Just unbelievable. Yeah, it is. It's right in the middle of that
The
period, isn't
songs
it?
are so good as well.
Yeah, and the DVD, the Blu-ray's got a really good. It's got that alternative ending as well. Remember?
Yeah.
Where it's like it's really downbeat.
That's a better ending.
That's the one we were going to show at the cinema, isn't it?
Yeah.
Next is Looper, which I really liked.
I don't know why you like that so much.
Rian Johnson, great director. I thought it was a really good time travel science fiction film. Worked really well, and I watched it at the cinema, and then I watched it quite soon afterwards on DVD, and it still worked.
I mean, I haven't seen it, so.
Then
But it's just one of those films that's on ITV3 all the time.
it's not.
Do you think?
That's Jumper
Oh, okay.
with Hayden Christensen, which is actually really good. That's a good film. Looper is Looper's Bruce Willis travelling back in time. It's like 12 Monkeys. It's Bruce Willis in time
You just
travel.
love a bit of Bruce Willis.
It can't be bad. So Bruce
Going
Willis
on a bit of
and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. There's a really good scene in it that does that thing that lots of time travel films don't seem to go. You know the bit in Back to the Future with the photo fading? There's a physical version of that, of somebody being tortured in the past and their body in the current bit of film showing the injury, the healed injuries now as it's started to happen to them. So like a finger suddenly vanishes because the guy's had his finger cut off in the past, and it's really effective.
Right.
It's great. Next, A Newbie,
Yeah.
Long Day's Journey into Night.
Which I thought you meant the Lauren Bacall version.
I know, which we have got as well on DVD. This is a Chinese film from last year, which is a neo-noir. It's very ambling and slow and beautifully shot, and it has a 59-minute. The last shot's 59 minutes long and it's 3D.
God help us.
So in the film, at the 59 minutes to the end mark, the protagonist sits down in a cinema and puts on 3D glasses, and a screen comes up that says, "Put your 3D glasses on now," and he falls asleep, and the last shot is him dreaming the resolution to the story, and it's really good. It's really dreamy. It works really well in 3D. It's amazing.
Yeah, I like a resolution.
Yeah, you're not going to get one out of that. Next up is another of our all-time favourite classics,
Yeah.
but I'm going to talk about the other ones in it as well. So this is the Blu-ray of Lost Boys,
Ugh, all hail.
served up in the trilogy box set
I don't know why.
with Lost Boys: The Tribe and Lost Boys: The Thirst, both of which feature. Is actually on the back of the box. It actually, as a sales point, it says each movie features Corey Feldman as intrepid vampire hunter Edgar Frog. So poor Corey, his career went down the pan. He just did Lost Boys sequels, neither of which we've watched.
No.
I've tried to get them on the telly on a couple of occasions.
I
And you
just-
just won't
there's
have
a-
it, will you?
Because it's a perfect film.
It is.
And we like to watch it in the garden on
Yeah.
the projector.
It's amazing outside, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Lost Boys, is one of the first 15s that I saw. And I can
Because you
remember.
were one of those rare
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch anything.
children
Yeah.
who wasn't watching.
Well, we didn't have a video recorder. I wasn't allowed to watch stuff at other people's houses
How would they know?
because I was a goody two shoes, and I would have gone home and told my mum what I'd watched.
Yeah.
So Lost Boys, I can remember watching when I was probably about 13, and I couldn't believe that there was like blood spraying around and fangs. I thought it was violent as hell.
Yeah. I was about 9 when I watched it.
It still stands up.
Mm.
It's amazing. It's
That's all that can be said, really,
what a
isn't it?
soundtrack. Then another of my favourites, Lost in Translation. You're not a fan of Lost in Translation, are you?
Well, a lot was made out of it.
I went to see this at the cinema with about 6 or 7 people that I used to work with at British Gas.
Yeah.
And when we walked out, I thought it was one of the best things I'd ever seen in the cinema.
Yeah.
Every other person who came out said it was one of the worst things they'd seen in the cinema.
Yeah.
It's one of those films.
Yeah.
If you like Lost in Translation, you love it. You adore it. I think is how this film goes.
Are you getting your script from Pretty Woman?
No.
Okay.
I don't remember the script of Pretty Woman. Lost in Translation has things that I like, which are Bill Murray, Japan, My Bloody Valentine on the soundtrack. Can't go wrong. And it's got Suntory whiskey in it.
Some people want more than symbols and music.
Well, and it makes my heart bleed.
Okay.
The karaoke scene where they're singing Roxy music is just amazing. Then comes Billy Wilder's The Lost Weekend. Remember this?
No.
The Drunk. It's Ray Milland as an alcoholic.
Oh, okay. And he lives with his brother.
I think so,
and
yeah.
he's packing his suitcase full of whiskey.
Yes. I'd like to watch it again. I really enjoyed it.
Kind of depressing,
Yeah.
but good.
At the same time, but there was a scene in it where I can't remember the words now, so it's going to be one of those awful anecdotes that I do on these where I say there's a scene in it where a thing happens and it was really good. Where Jane Wyman says something and it felt really like a modern phrase. I'm going to have to find out for the next week.
We're going to cut this whole thing.
No, we're not. Then after that comes The Lover's Exile, which is a DVD of a Japanese bunraku puppet theatre performance of a story called The Lover's Exile.
Kill me now.
It's incredible. Bunraku puppetry is incredible.
Said no one ever.
It's people in black costumes that like they stand behind the
I get
puppets.
what puppetry is.
Yeah, but like they're quite big puppets, and they manage to make them seem more human than human.
I wish I'd brought a drink to this episode.
It's amazing. Then the last in the L's is Luciano Visconti's Ludwig.
And the Angry Inch?
No, that's Hedwig. Ludwig is I don't know whether it's a film or a TV series. I think it was originally a TV thing, but it's a film. They just showed it on telly in 4 or 5 episodes.
What?
And it's 5 hours of
God.
the life of King Ludwig II of Bavaria, who was a 19th century super rich, super decadent, hiding his homosexuality king.
Right.
It's got a star-studded cast of people from all over Europe. I didn't know anything about King Ludwig, so it was really interesting. It's weird. It feels slightly nightmarish because it's kind of, I don't know. It's weird. It's got that thing that lots of Italian cinemas got, where the actors were all asked to act in their native language, and then it's all dubbed afterwards. So you get weird stuff like Trevor Howard, that's in Brief Encounter, plays Richard Wagner.
Who's a bad man, we find out.
Yeah, well, allegedly so, yeah. Trevor Howard, he plays Richard Wagner in this. So he's playing a German composer. He's speaking English, because he was English, and it's dubbed into Italian with English subtitles.
Right.
So when you're watching it, you're you can see the mouth move, and it's not quite what the subtitles say, and there's an Italian voice coming out. It's quite hard to watch. But it's really interesting.
Migraine tablets at the ready.
Yeah, I think if you don't like subtitles or migraines, it's not for you.
I like subtitles.
Just.
I like dubbed.
Yeah, it is a thing that I find difficult with some Italian films, is the all the way through the 60s and 70s, there's never any live sound on set. It's always dubbed afterwards.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's really effective, sometimes it's not.
So
So they're the L's.
nice one, brother. So, island choices?
Lost in Translation. Lost Boys.
Yeah. The box set.
Yeah.
Because that's 3 films.
No, I'll just take Lost Boys. Lost Boys, Lost in Translation, Lawrence of Arabia.
Nice.
Steven Spielberg watches Lawrence of Arabia with his family every year, once.
Yeah.
We'll find out what day he does that, and I'll watch it the same day, even though I'm on a desert island.
Do you think you're going to have Twitter on the island?
No, but I'll find out before I go there.
Ben's Island Cinema.
Yeah, it'd be great, wouldn't it? It's just me on a beach with a big screen.
Still getting stressed out.
Yeah.
Things aren't going right. It's too much sand.
God! Come on, buy tickets.
Got so much to do.
How dare you? It's very
So
difficult.
here's today's renegade question.
Go on.
Who is your favourite morally upstanding criminal?
In a film? Or in real life?
No, in a book.
In a film? A morally upstanding criminal? Also, somebody who's an outlaw and he does illegal stuff but is a good person that we root for.
Yes.
Oh, man. I don't know. Travis Bickle? Travis is only doing stuff for good purpose. He's just going about it the wrong way. And at times like this, when people are having bonfires and not walking 2 meters away from me, I can very easily see how you would end up taxi drivering the hell out of things.
Is that your answer?
No. Wow. I wasn't expecting that one. Snake Plissken, Escape from New York. He's a criminal, but he's fighting for the good of... Where is he? He's trying to get somebody out. He's trying to get a politician out of the New York prison. He's a good bad guy who's not bad. Does it count if you're a werewolf? Are you bad?
No. Just different.
It's gonna have David from American Werewolf in London. The werewolf is a murderer.
But
I
that's
don't
just what
know.
animals do.
That's hard, isn't it?
That is a hard one.
Have you got one?
I've got some in TV series, but I don't know about films. We should think about it and revisit the question once we've thought about it.
I mean, all the people in things like Godfather and Goodfellas, there's quite a lot of like likeable rogues, aren't there, and things like that.
Likeable, but I don't know.
It's a different thing. I know what you mean. That kind of thing where you're supposed to root for this character,
Yeah.
as opposed to Wolf of Wall Street, where you're not really meant to root for him, but
No.
you find yourself enjoying his escapades anyway, even though you know they're bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Gonna have to have a bit more of a think about that.
Let's have a think.
Oh, and I'm going to take another photo because Luke went through the K's and he said that King of Comedy should be in there, and King of Comedy has long been on the list of things that I need to buy a Blu-ray of. Have a DVD of it, but we also have a Laserdisc of it.
We do, but no way of playing
We've
with
got a
it.
Laserdisc player. It's in the loft.
Oh.
So yeah, I don't think it counts that we haven't got a Blu-ray because we've got a Laserdisc, and it's a really nice, cheesy 80s covered Laserdisc as well.
Yeah.
So I'll get a photo of that. What would you take as Desert Island out of those L's?
Oh. Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Looper, to see what the fuss is all about. And The Life Aquatic.
Good choices.
Yeah.
Hope you like Looper.
Probably not.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's really good fun.
Okay.
It's the most fun I had at the cinema that year.
Yeah. Do you know what fun is?
No.
Yeah.
That's it then for today. That's
Alright.
L.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Bab. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.